right now if you're new. Hi, Kim. Hello, Carol. Yes, and Candace. Hello, thank you for joining us. So my name is Shannon Elliott. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I work for PMD Alliance as the manager of our In-Sync support group leader network, our program. And I do have a colleague on with me today. Trang, can you say hello? There she is, she's waving. Yep, and she is going to be helping on the tech back end. So thank you to her. So as we get started, what I like to do is rename ourselves with your first name and the city of where you are, just so we can keep to, getting to know each other and where we all are. So in order to do that, if hopefully you're in your gallery view and you can see everyone's faces the same size, and you do that by hovering over your Zoom window and go to the top right-hand corner, click on view, and you want to go to gallery. Okay, and then from there, you're going to find your own image, your own face. You're going to hover over your own image. You'll see a menu pop up. It's an ellipsis or 3 dots. Click on that. And then you'll see the option to rename. So what I'd like you to do is put your first name and your city. Excellent. If anyone has any issues with any of these things, you're welcome to unmute yourself. I believe we have that option now. Trang, is that right? Yes, everyone can unmute. So
I have Chromebook and it doesn't work.
Thank you for letting me know, Arthur. So Arthur, where are you calling in from?
Camarillo, California.
Camarillo, C-A-M?
Yeah, C-A-M-A-R-I-L-L-O.
Camarillo. Nice.
It's in Ventura County. It's near Oxnard.
Okay. We've got some folks in Central California, I believe, on the call. Yes. And then Candace, hi there.
I have an iPad, so I didn't track with your directions. I'm from Springfield, Illinois.
Welcome. Okay, I can rename you quickly from my end. In Springfield. Wonderful.
Illinois, there's a lot of them.
Let me be specific. There we are. Okay. So
Thank you.
I have an iPad too.
Oh, interesting.
My name's Brenda, and
Yeah.
I'm from Arkansas.
Yes, that's right. Where in Arkansas?
Jonesboro.
Jonesboro. My parents are in Siloam Springs, or no, I went to high school in Siloam Springs and they're now in Fayetteville.
Northwest part.
That's right.
I'm in Northeast.
And Peggy. Hi, Peggy.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm so good. How are you?
I am fine. I missed the instructions to get rid of my last name and put my place.
Are you on a computer, Peggy?
I'm on my iPad. My computer was too slow, so I was switching.
I see. Okay. Well, all of the different devices, the Chromebook, the smartphones, all of them have a little bit of different functionality. So what I'm going to do is enter in your city for you, Peggy, just for your time purposes. So can you remind me of where you are?
I'm in North Hills of Pittsburgh, or Zillionople.
How about I just say Pittsburgh today?
Okay.
All right, Peggy in Pittsburgh. Excellent. All righty.
Thank you very much.
Of course. It's nice to know where we're all calling in from. So we are here today for our virtual roundtable. Yeah, so I'm really glad that you've joined us. A lot of great things to discuss. And I'm going to be showing you a few new little tricks today, so that'll be a lot of fun. I see Jason is here and he's in Barling, Arkansas. So that's who I wanted to connect with, Brenda. So Jason is on the call as well, and you both are from Arkansas. So that's good to know. I am going to start sharing my screen with you. I've got a little PowerPoint, and as I can see Trang put in the chat. She's welcoming everyone, and feel free to unmute yourself, or you can write something in the chat. She's going to help me out by keeping an eye on that as I share my screen, because there's so much on my little laptop here that it's hard to keep an eye on all of it. I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint. So, okay, here we are. Okay, so yes, we are at our, let's see, our third roundtable of the year, I believe. So we're calling this our support group for support group leaders, which is kind of a fun idea. And it's really helpful in this time, isn't it? As we're all so isolated and we can't get together. So these roundtables I'm planning to offer monthly. During this time, I've gotten back to them as of last month. This is our roundtable for November, of course, or we will have one more in December before the end of the year. And so hopefully you can let me know, and we'll talk about that a little bit later today, if monthly seems like a good amount of time between, is there enough to talk about? Just want to check in with you about how often we get together. So this is my plan, is to have monthly roundtables for us. And it's basically a place where we can share our experiences and our concerns, our hopes with one another. And it can also provide us a place where we can brainstorm ideas to help support one another and to help those who are in our communities, especially now that we're going into the winter and maybe some long months of more isolation. Okay. So what's on your mind? We are going to be taking a poll at the beginning here of our roundtable. I have a few questions and I'm really curious to get your perspectives on today. And then if you might remember, if you joined us during our last roundtable, there were 3 topics that I had brought up. We chose to focus on the primary challenges that we're facing as support group leaders right now. And the other 2 topics we didn't have an opportunity to hit on because we just had so much to talk about with the challenges. So today, our roundtable is going to focus on one of those other topics, which is basically looking into the immediate future as to how PMD Alliance can support you as support group leaders, as far as training and roundtables and things that we can do for you as support group leaders, but also what are ways PMD Alliance can support the larger community? Are there educational topics? Are there certain kinds of events that we can hold? Just things that we can do. We're racking brains, we want to keep things fresh. We know people are on Zoom all the time. So what is it that we can do for the larger community as well to keep everyone connected and feeling like they're learning, things like that. So that is our focus for today. And for those of you who were on our training last Monday, we talked about breakout rooms. So we use breakout rooms during our roundtables, and it's a way for us to meet in smaller groups so that everyone can have a chance to talk with one another. And, great timing. It's really funny, actually, how we had our session on breakout rooms last Monday, and literally later that day, Zoom provided an update for their application, which changed the way that breakout rooms work, which is kind of hilarious. So we will be discussing that in more depth next month. We have a training on December 7th, which is a more advanced training for Zoom and support group leaders. So we'll go into some of those details a little bit more, but I will touch on some of those changes today as we get into our breakout rooms to discuss our topic. I don't know if Gunter is here. I can't see you because I have my screen shared. So Gunter, if you are here, please unmute yourself. I don't think he's joined us yet. Anyway, he was the one who notified me of that change to the breakout rooms, and we had a fun little experimental session last week together so we could practice the new way that breakout rooms work. All right, so moving forward, our collaboration agreements. This is a slide that you might have seen before. This is something I like to bring up at the beginning of any time we have this roundtable event. And it's just a way to get us all on the same page. It's how we all want to agree to approach our interactions with one another to make it respectful and productive. So we do ask that you mute your mic whenever necessary. Of course, you're able to unmute when you want to say something, but in the case that there's that background noise, just go ahead and keep that mic muted until you have something to say. Just a reminder to listen intently to other people's ideas. And then when you have an idea and you want to build on that, you can say, yes, I hear your point. I hear your idea. And let's think about it this way as well. So building on other people's ideas. Keeping an eye on the time. It's amazing how quick an hour and a half can go. So just keeping an eye when we have certain time limits as far as sharing with one another. And then lastly, please be patient with technology. So of course we're using Zoom and we're going to be going in and out of breakout rooms. If something goes wrong, I apologize in advance. Just go ahead and call on back if you get knocked out for any reason. So just being patient with technology. And let's see, there we go. And being patient, hopefully with me and with Trang, so the operators of that technology as we learn together. Okay, I'd also like to mention that because we're getting into breakout rooms, you can have pen and paper next to you at your computer so that you can take notes. We will be reporting to the main group after our small breakout sessions. So if you have some paper and a pen with you, that would be fantastic. And okay, so I want to begin with our poll. I have a few questions I want to share with you all today. I'm going to stop my screen share because I like to see you as we do the polling. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to launch the poll, and so you should see a window pop up on your screen. Some of these questions are might need a little explanation, so we're going to go through them together. So these are some topics that have come up in recent conversations I've either had with other staff members at PMD Alliance or even some support group leaders. And so I just wanted to get your take on it because you guys are the experts. So the first question here, it says, would you attend a PMD Alliance drive-in educational event right now? So we have experimented a little bit with this idea. We did have a drive-in movie that we sponsored, that we hosted in Florida recently. And so it was for our PMD Alliance community down there. And we actually had the movie Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox in it as the movie that played. So it was kind of fun. We had, I believe, 7 cars show up. So it was not a huge event, but people came out, they had their lawn chairs, they set them up outside in front of their vehicles and they safely distanced, but they were able to wave to one another across the way. We did learn though that people are hesitant to drive at night. And so maybe an evening event is not the best option. We do though have plans for some drive-in educational events that will take place during the day. And that would entail people driving to some location, maybe a church parking lot, someplace where cars can be distanced. And then there would be an educational event of some kind. I'm not sure of all the technical aspects. Maybe it would be on FM radio where people can hear everything that's being said. My question to you is, would you personally consider going to something like this just to get out of the house, just to start interacting with people in real life, or do you feel like that's too much of a risk to take? So if you want to go ahead and start putting your answers in, I see that only two people out of 25 have responded so far. So are you all seeing the poll? You do see it.
lost the poll. I
You
don't
lost,
know. Yeah.
you lost the poll, Arthur? I'm not sure on a Chromebook. Trang, do you have any
Well,
sense?
it was
Arthur, hold on one second. I'm going to ask. There you go. Okay. Yes, you were muted for 1 minute there. So go ahead and repeat yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I switched screens for a moment from two of two to one of two, where I could see different people, and it disappeared. And I switched back again, and I still can't see it.
I see.
It opens as a separate window, so I wonder if it's just hidden.
I don't have any experience on Chromebook, unfortunately, so I don't know how you can find that
Okay.
poll.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Arthur. Okay. Does anyone else have any issue right now with finding their poll? I only see that 9 people. Okay, we're starting to get some answers in. So as you're getting used to this polling feature, I'm going to scroll down to the next question. For the support group leaders who have group members reluctant to join meetings, might an easier online meeting platform like Google Meets be a way to encourage them to participate? Okay, so that's just something that I was discussing with Trang, because we're providing Zoom training, of course, for all of you, because that's what we use at PMD Alliance, and that's our program that we offer for free for all of you as support group leaders. But we just had this thought, like, what if the platform was a little bit easier to work with? What do you think it would make a difference? And then finally, our last question, do you currently have any co-leaders or co-facilitators to help you with your support group meetings? All right, so we have only half of the people submitted at this point. Does anyone have any problem making their answers come through? We'd love to get as much participation as possible. I'm really wanting to hear your perspectives on this. Okay, here we go. Yes, now the numbers are coming in.
And then could I say something?
Of course, Sarah.
We had a pretty good support group until the virus hit.
Mhm.
And I had been sending out meeting notifications once I started up on Zoom in August or September. And I would send these notifications out via email and also snail mail. And I realized I'm sending snail mail people the same information, join our Zoom group. But the reason I'm sending snail mail is because they don't have internet. So I'm sending out a piece of paper that does nothing for them except make them feel even worse. So I started a newsletter.
Okay.
So I'm summarizing the meetings and then adding in a spotlight on our board and just other little articles or information for them, plus all of our scheduled Zoom meetings. So I'm hoping that's will help. I've only done one so far.
That's a great idea, Sarah. What a wonderful way to pivot, to keep them involved, to keep information coming their way so they're not totally just out there floating. So I commend you for that. And that's a wonderful thing to do. It takes a little bit of extra effort, I imagine.
Yes, a lot of effort.
Yes, thank you for doing that. And, I wonder if some of you as support group leaders wouldn't want to team up, and maybe 1 month, one support group leader could write up the newsletter. It could be sent out to multiple groups, and then another leader could take on the following month, something like that. I also wanted to mention the phone tree idea is to make sure to keep connected with those folks who don't have internet. Make sure to keep calling them on a hopefully regular basis, and get others in your support group to help with that. And so it's not just one person calling everyone, have a number of volunteers helping out. And a lot of people like to stay in touch via the phone. So just to keep that in mind. Okay, great. So it looks like we have most people submitted here. excuse me, I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to share the results with you so you can see. So it looks like maybe I would consider it is the big answer for the drive-in, and a lot of people meaning 7. So 15 of us would consider it for sure. And then we still do have some concern with the virus, even with a distanced situation. So this is really good for us to see. And then let's see, okay, maybe you'd be interested to learn another platform. Thank you for that. And then we really have kind of a variety of answers with the co-leaders. So this is good information for me to have. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing this.
And I did have just a FYI, excuse me, I'm in Oregon, and we run a caregiver support group for those living with Parkinson's, their loved ones. And we use Blue Jeans and we use Google, and we were having real struggles with both of those. I thought of all of them we've used so far, Zoom seems to be, they are more, they update faster, and it's seen with my recipients that it was so much easier for them to use Zoom than anything else we've used so far.
Thank you for that feedback. So you have used Google Meets as one of your options. Okay,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't working for them.
And it could have been, I don't know if it was some of the folks that we were working with, but you know, many of them were very tech savvy. So in our particular situation, it didn't work nearly as well as Zoom. And that was our feedback anyway.
Okay, good. Thanks for that. Zoom seems to be the leader right now. And I'm glad to hear that for a lot of you. Those who do have internet are able to get on for the time being. So let's try to keep growing those numbers. Right, I'm going to start sharing my screen again. Let's see. Okay, so for today's breakout groups, we're going to have multiple groups as we normally do, and we're going to have 2 possible topics that we're going to be discussing. So the first one, and you're going to be choosing these, so take note of which one you want to be involved with. So topic 1 is ideas for PMD Alliance community educational programs. So a lot of you have probably participated in our NLO programs, our Neuro Life Online educational programs, usually during lunchtime, the middle of the day. We have lots of doctors come on, Dr. Subramanian. She's on our programs probably 3 times a week right now. So these are ideas that will help your community, all of us as a whole. I wanted to mention here as well in the list, it says Club Hub. I don't know if you've heard of them. We've started 2 club hubs at PMD Alliance in an effort to have more socialization happening for our community. So the first club hub was a photography club. So it started off, we had just, our numbers weren't huge, and then it dwindled a little bit. And then this particular group decided to take it to Facebook. And so they have a private Facebook group, and they meet and do their photography club there. So the photography club is currently not meeting with PMD Alliance right now. We have just started a book club with PMD Alliance. Started maybe a week or 2 ago. So we'll see how that takes off. But what do you think about that idea to have clubs online? And if there are any specs that you think would be a real attraction for our community, they get together once a month and talk about something fun, something maybe not as related to movement disorders, just, makes us human beings and have interests and have fun in life, things like that. So those are, categories of community educational programs or social programs. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Okay. And then the second topic that you can choose to talk about today with your colleagues our actual support group leader trainings, the SGL, that's what that stands for, support group leader trainings and roundtable topics that you could benefit from. Okay, so start to think about which one you might want to talk with others about and brainstorm. And as we get into this, I wanted to share this page with you. This actually comes from our support group leader manual that PMD Alliance provides during our trainings. We normally do in-person trainings across the country. Of course, we're not doing that now. We are doing some regional trainings virtually to take the place of some of those in-person trainings, but this manual has a lot of great information in it. I really like this page. I know that the print is quite small, so do your best and I'll read out as well as I can. So what this is, it's basically 3 categories of topics of discussion, different kinds of speakers you might have come visit your groups. So what are your support group members wanting and what do they need from your support group meetings? And it's just a way to sort of frame that. The first category on the left is learn. So what do people want to learn through educational programs and resources? The second category is how do people want to live their lives more fully? And it's really about how they're feeling as people with Parkinson's or movement disorders or even care partners. How are they feeling? And then the third category there is connect. How do they want to connect with others so that they know that they're not on this journey alone? Okay. So learn, let's go back to the first category just to kind of wet our whistles here, get our brains flowing in this direction. So learning over here, there's medical information and procedures, medications. That's always a big topic people want to know about. And there's always lots of new developments going on in the pharmaceutical industry. Symptoms, motor, non-motor symptoms, different kinds of research. What happens when you go to the hospital, the things you need to be aware of, insurance and Medicare, different sorts of benefits, like for veterans, nutrition and such, different therapies, exercise programs, complementary treatments. So those are the kinds of things that we have found people like to learn. You'll notice here that there are some blanks. So in our reference manual, we keep places open for you to write things in as well. So I will be sending this as a PDF. You're welcome to print it out and have it for yourself as a resource later. In the live category, so it's more about just how do people enjoy their lives on a daily basis. Social activities, are they able to drive to do things they need to do in life? Are they YOPD possibly continuing to work? Feeling understood, those kinds of things. Okay, and then the third category, in connect. So who do you connect with? Maybe connect with people who like to exercise in the same way that they want to connect with other care partners, so we have care partner specific support groups, right? So just start to think in these ways and have it be just perhaps for your brain's session today. Now, I want to, can most people read this? I only see 5 of you at the bottom. Okay, you can read it pretty well. I'd like to share something fun with you. It's called an annotation stamp tool. Again, if you're on an iPad or if you're on a Chromebook, this unfortunately will not work well for you. All right, this is a this is a tool that is offered best through a desktop or a laptop computer. All right. So for those of you who have that option, what I would like you to do, and Trang, you might need to help me because I'm seeing this as a host and you're seeing it as someone else. So what I would like you to do is go to the top of your screen with your mouse and find a menu at the top. It should pop up. It should say you are viewing Shannon's screen, something like that. And then I believe it's open more menu. And you're going to find the annotation tool. Do you see that, Trang? The annotation option? Peggy has her,
yes.
She's got her thing. Okay, so if you click annotation, and another little menu pop up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
what I need to do find stamp. So there's stamp and there's like a little check mark. So if you click on that, then another tiny little menu comes up and there's an option for an arrow. There's a star, a heart. Are you all seeing this? Hopefully you are.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
pick one. Pick one of these. I'm going to pick a heart. All
Oh,
right.
me too.
Now, I would love you to choose 3 on this whole page. What are the most popular topics for you and your groups? And you're going to take your stamp and you're going to put it next to those 3 most important topics. And we can kind of glimpse from the whole group what their groups are like, what they're talking about in real time. Stars, I see hearts, lots of symptoms and medications seem to be popular topics. Yeah. In the live category, being accepted by friends and acquaintances, maintain daily activities. Great. This is just a fun little activity you can do and get immediate responses from people, right? And kind of see where everyone is coming from. And as a host, just so you know, I can save this image. And so what I'm going to do with all of us on the call today is I'm going to send this to you as a PDF.
Okay.
Neat.
There are lots of options in this annotate tool. So you could potentially do whiteboard brainstorming this way. There are several things you could do, activities, but I really like it for this. It's fairly straightforward. All people need to do is click. You don't have to worry about your handwriting if you're trying to write in cursive or something like that. You can type. You can put a cursor on the screen and type if you want.
Really?
Yeah. Looks like therapies and exercise programs are a really popular topic. So I'm going to give this just a few more seconds here as we wrap up. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to save this and I will share this with you in the next couple of days. Text too small. Yes, it is very small, Judy. I couldn't see which Judy you were. That went away too quickly. But yes, it is very small and I apologize for that. You have to get your super readers out. All right, I am going to save this. And then as something you should know as a host, if you ever do this annotation tool, you need to clear it. You need to clear all the stamps. There's an option to do that in order to move forward and not have all of these little symbols on the page. So I'm going to clear them. And then, let's see here.
Oh, there's the clear. Yeah.
And then I'm going to disable the annotation for now. Okay, so now that we have some ideas going through our minds on these topics, I am going to lead us through the breakout rooms. So again, we're getting into smaller groups so that we can have more sharing and connection. People are more willing to contribute if there aren't so many people in the room. So 4 to 5 people is an ideal number. We're going to try for that today. We'll see how that goes. You're going to be self-selecting your breakout room. So that is the big change since last week. If you are on our breakout rooms training, this is the brand new thing that Zoom is offering. You can now choose which group to be in. Okay, so start to think about how this might help you in your groups. Say you have a larger group of mixed folks, people who are living with a movement disorder, and you've got care partners, you might have adult children. You could have breakout rooms and have them self-select which breakout room to go into, or if you want a certain topic discussed, they can choose which one to join. So this is a really great addition to our program. So there is a caveat here. So your Zoom application must be updated. All right, so it needs to be version 5.3 or more in order to have this capability. Otherwise, if you haven't updated today, then that is just going to mean I need to manually put you into a room. It's no problem at all. But I want to give this a try. Again, this is kind of that experimental spirit that I'd like to move forward with, and we're just going to learn together. Again, there are the two topics to choose from. Brainstorm either the support group leader training ideas, things that you want to learn as a support group leader, or roundtable ideas, or larger community program ideas. Okay. So you're going to pick the breakout topic, and there are going to be a few rooms per topic. So let's see how many people we have. It looks like we have 29 folks on. So I need to do the math, but I'm going to try to have as many rooms there to allow 4 to 5 people to be in each room. And so probably 3 or 4 rooms per topic. And so you're going to have to help me put yourself into a room where it's not 10 people, but we're going to try to keep 4 to 5. And I can help this process. This is going to be fun. Now, once everyone gets to your room, we're going to allow a minute or two for that to happen, because this is a new function that we're working with here of self-selecting. You're going to designate a leader of your group, and that person is going to help facilitate the sharing. They're going to take notes on everyone's ideas, and then they're going to report back to the larger group after the breakout. All right, so make sure to designate a leader. During the session, you'll have about 12 minutes or so to brainstorm. It depends on how many people are in there. I can send you a halfway notice. In the past, I've been doing, change to the next person, but I don't want to micromanage that much. I'm just going to say, you're about halfway done. Make sure that you have everyone participating and speaking their mind. You're going to receive a 30-second warning before you're going to be brought back to the main group. And then finally, after we come back, we're going to have the small group leaders share back about 3 minutes per person. So that's going to be our process. And let's see here. When we come back, we're going to fill this table in together. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. When you have your ideas, we're going to have our in-sync trainings for support group leaders on this side, and then our NLO and Club Hub and other kind of programs for our community on this side. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Communal. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, great. I'm going to share my screen so that we can look at the PowerPoint and fill in our together as we work through the groups and all of our ideas. We keep track of everything. So let me share my PowerPoint with you. Okay, how is that, Trang? Okay, great. Okay, so let's start from the top. We have community group number 1 with Carol, Judy, and Trace. So if someone could let me know who was the leader, and then I can start to take notes.
I was the leader.
Great, thanks, Judy. All righty, so what did you all come up with?
Well, we spent too much time, I guess, talking about the problem of getting more people to join us online. I had interesting conversation with Trace. She is not Parkinson's or a caregiver, care partner. She is, she works right now with Alzheimer's and dementia, and she would like to start a support group for care partners of people with Parkinson's. So she's looking for support group training. And she would mention that one of the things they do for the Alzheimer's people is they have what they call virtual bingo. And that seems to attract a lot of people. So that might be a good idea for our groups. And
Very fun.
and I was trying to think, just before our time ran out, I was trying to think of an idea that I had, and I couldn't think of the name for it. You know how we have those moments?
Yes.
So I was like frantically trying to remember it before my 30 seconds was up. But it just came to me. It's called icebreakers, where you would maybe send out a question and then have everybody join the meeting and discuss that question.
Love it.
That topic, whatever. And that works well with my support group that I do from my church. We pick a topic for them and we send an email out with the topic in it, and then that's our topic for discussion.
I see. So you do it in advance so people can think about it a little bit.
People will have time to think about it, and then we have, and sometimes we segue onto other things. You know how that goes. But, so that was an idea that I had. Beyond that, I think we talked a lot about, you know, going from 60 people to 10 or 12 people, and how do we get more people is, I guess, our biggest. We still can't come up with a.
I see. Okay. Low attendance on Zoom. All righty. Well, thank you. Thanks to group number one, community group number one. Let's go to group number two. That included Arthur, Gil, I think Sarah, Roger. Who was the leader in that group, please? Was that you, Sarah?
Yeah, that.
Let's see. Let's try to get you unmuted. You were muted. There you go. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I ended up being the leader since I was the biggest talker there. Surprise,
That
surprise. Sometimes. We talked a little bit. We weren't sure if the community was getting together again or still online. So Gil from Georgia was talking about that they had a walk and a picnic, just maintaining social distance and following all the rules, but at least they were in person and could gather and see each other and talk to each other without getting too close. And so he thought that was real beneficial. And let's see, Gil also mentioned, you know, asking interesting speakers. He's got a speaker who wrote the book, and I can't think of her name, living with Parkinson's. And so that's their December speaker. And so I told them about our speakers. We get Joe Bidwell, who comes from Lubbock, and she's like a walking encyclopedia on Parkinson's. And so she's always good. And this month we're having Natural Grocer, the nutritionist person, trainer, food person, food demonstrator, whatever. She is our speaker tomorrow. And then in December, I think we're having Joe Bidwell back. Mm-hmm. But what I found is I think we're going to have to make direct contact with people in order to find out what's going on, why they aren't joining the meeting, and help them get set up. Because otherwise, once you get on, it's so easy. And it's just that initial startup, I think, is a little overwhelming for some people. And I'm thinking, as time consuming as that is, that's probably what we may end up doing, is direct calls. And let's see. I think that's about it. Those are the notes I took.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thanks to group number two. Appreciate that. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, group number three. Looks like you guys were a small little one. Sorry about that. It looks like Cheryl and Judy from Southern California.
And Kelly.
And Kelly. Maybe, did Kelly leave the group or leave the meeting? I don't see her, but anyway. So who was the leader of that group? Do we have Judy Shore or Cheryl Reams there? Can you unmute yourselves? Do you see them, Train?
I just asked Judy to mute. Oh,
Yeah, I just did.
okay.
Okay, I think it was, let's see, we were joking, but she was the only, Cheryl didn't have she was dogless. So we each had dogs on our laps and we couldn't really take good notes. So I don't know if she wants to go ahead. And I don't know what happened to Kelly. That's
Yeah, she might have got kicked off somehow. So Cheryl, is that right? Or am I getting it confused?
Yes.
I can't see you. Okay, so Cheryl, hi there. You're the dogless one?
Hi.
The one able to
I am
take-
the dogless one.
Okay.
I have grand dogs. Daughter-in-law is a pet groomer. So, okay. So we talked about, what we were person or how we were getting together. We talked about how we might get more people. We talked about that, the group needs something to look forward to. Let's see, Kelly works and she talked about her circle of care, and she talked about the need for husbands whose wife has Parkinson's, to have someplace to go and talk about Parkinson's. Judy talked about having virtual bingo, for having icebreakers that she sends in advance by mail. And then, we'd have walks or picnics where we could distance and be outdoors. So it's getting colder in my part of the country. We're not going to be outdoors.
Right.
So those were some of the things we talked about. And we didn't come up with any solution for how we get more people because we were toward the end of the time. One thing that I have been doing is putting it in our local newspaper, because on Fridays they have like health and support groups that they list. So there's, I put a little article, and we're not meeting now, I'm not doing that. But I am trying to keep up by email or phone calls.
Okay. Stay in touch. Okay.
And Cheryl mentioned a book, if she could share that, that sounded really good. And she even held it up for us.
It's called When Caregiving Calls, and the subtitle is Guidance as You Care for a or Aging Relative. And he was recognized as a top 100 healthcare leader by the International Forum on Advancements in Healthcare. He used to write for the government on, healthcare relations and things like that. And he happens to live in our community, which is at the local university, on healthcare issues. So that was interesting. He talked about how his family became the care mother-in-law. And so this book doesn't talk about like how you can give care, like how to get out of chairs or, toilet them or help with bathing. It talked about the relationship among the giver and the care receiver. So it was a different the other books, that I have on caregiving. And he's offered to come talk to our Care Partners group.
That's wonderful.
So we're gonna,
Good.
we're gonna arrange. Pardon me?
Could you say his name one more time, please?
The name is When Caregiving Calls.
Okay.
And the author is
yes,
Aaron, Aaron Bli.
So I missed a bit. You cut in and out a little bit with your audio, Cheryl. So I have Aaron and
right.
then
Blight.
Blight. Got it. Perfect. Thank you. That sounds like a great resource. It's more about the connection between the care partner and the person with the movement disorder. Yes. So, or whoever, whoever's being taken, who is receiving care. So I really like that perspective. Thank you for that resource and for reporting for your group.
Thanks.
Yes, great. Okay. So now we are moving to the support group leader groups. So support group leader group 1, we have Brenda, we've got Carter, Deborah. So if someone, I think it's Larry, said he might be the group leader. So Larry, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Yes, we talked about what would be helpful for us as support group leaders, getting support and help from PMD Alliance. And we were kind of all over the map on the kinds of groups that we have. Judy comes from a subgroup of a large group of 1,000. She does just DBS and supports that group. Brenda, they did something with, they exercised together online, and then they decided that they would like to have a social outlet. So they moved to Zoom and trying to ask social questions with that, but they're just brand new. I forget, I didn't hear what Deborah's issue was as far as the makeup of her group in Palos Verdes, California, and Carter either. But anyway, there was spread. So what we started to do, one of the things that was an example of one group was in the new group, it kind of got started, but one person arbitrarily just kind of took over with different topics and kind of left the other members behind. It wasn't something that they did together. So what we pulled from that when we stepped back and looked at that, it was the group really needs an opportunity to see who they want to be as a group. And they need to do that in a collaborative way, to decide together what kind of a group as we start out, what do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish? A couple of people gave their mission statements. Some groups have real defined mission statements. One is, this was in Texas, Judy's, ask questions, seek answers, make friends. That's their mission statement. Ask questions, seek answers, make friends, which is great. That gives a focus of what they're going to do. Another one, Deborah's, is educate, resource, and support. So there are groups that kind of know who they are, but other groups need to know who they want to become. And PMD Alliance could maybe help groups figure out how to become. The second thing, the second big issue was that we as facilitators need more help and confidence and skill. These are my words, not theirs, but this is what I pulled from it, on how to lead. How do we lead so that everybody feels comfortable and safe? How do we lead so everybody's voice is heard fairly? During that meeting. So I guess facilitation skills, we could kind of need help, get help with that on how to lead a meeting.
Okay.
And then I apologize because I clicked a button and left my group before I thought I was going to. And so I didn't get to hear everything that Deborah said, but she was feeling some pressure as the Zoom leader in her group. And maybe she can speak up in a second and flesh that out. But my sense is that it had something to do with having to lead and be a facilitator with all those skills, plus also like what you're doing, Shannon, having to do the technical stuff too at the same time. Maybe that's overwhelming. Maybe I heard her wrong. I don't know. And then what I would just add, which I didn't have a chance to add to the group, but what I would just add is I would like the opportunity to hear what best practices are from other groups. What are other groups doing that really do help them, like help them ask questions and how them seek answers and to make friends. I love that mission statement. How can a group improve with what it wants to do by sharing best practices and hearing from others? And with that, I'll stop.
Oh, fantastic. Yay. This is great stuff. So a lot of these things I do address in our regional workshops that we normally do in person. So there could be maybe mini workshops, meaning M-I-N-I, small mini workshops, where we could delve into some of these topics just during one of our Monday trainings instead of doing the full 3-day training that I normally do and delve into some of these things. So that's really good to hear, Larry. And from that group number 1, that you're interested to learn these things. Best practices was one of our topics that we offered for last roundtable. We just didn't get to it. So I'm glad to know that that is a hot topic and we can bring that up again. So wonderful. Thank you so much. Great. Okay, group number 2, Candace, Dave, Dolly, Jason, and Terry. Who is your leader, please?
We didn't pick one.
Super collaborative. Okay, so was that you, Judy Shore? No, not that. I just see your face popped up on my screen. Who just spoke?
Dolly. Dolly spoke.
Dolly, would you mind just being the leader for now and help us take some notes?
Of course. We were, as for someone previously mentioned, kind of all over the map, kind of sharing some of the resources and what we have done in our own groups, and how the Zoom is working. And one of the basically, I think it's Dave, said he began the PD Buzz website. Does everyone know about that?
Is it pdbuzz.com or org?
Yes,
I can't remember.
pdbuzz.com, the website. Maybe Dave could speak more to that in terms of, seems to be a central coordinating.
That's actually a site that Lauren Shannon, Lauren Simmons developed. My partner, that I came up with the name. That's about my kind.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But Lauren, and we just and Lauren, it's supposed to be a one-stop shop for shopping for everything going on in Orange County related to PD events and so forth, and resources and doctors and physical therapy and stuff like that. And it's expanded into Candace's area. Candace is in Springfield, Illinois, and PD Buzz also has a Springfield, Illinois version now too. So it was interesting to have Candace in there. It was kind of nice that Candace was able to speak to that. And she said that Candace said it's going very well in the Springfield area too. And it's something that people can look at, and if they're interested in having it in their area, that they can be expanded. So look at pdbuzz.com and as an example and see what you think.
Great, thank you, Dave.
And then Jason, I think, spoke about just starting a group, attempting to start a group in his area, and in kind of remembrance of his dad, who didn't have, as a family, they didn't have a lot of support. So the need is out there, and it was great that he commended for that.
Wonderful. Yes, Jason and I have spoken about that. So really great. For new groups to be started in areas where there is nothing, there's so need. And so it's all of you who are filling in that gap and really giving hope to people. So thank you to all of you and to Jason for this new endeavor of starting a group in his area in Arkansas. Wonderful, thank you.
In talking about PD Buzz, it was our support group who met with our local medical school in the area, and we're trying to get them to set up a resource list for Springfield. And upon the conversation, we realized we really, as patients, as persons living with Parkinson's, needed to do it, because although there's not, ugly competition, you just they weren't going to necessarily list all the neurologists in the community if they weren't in their practice. So that was where I came up with finding PD Buzz and not being a webmaster myself, hoping that we could just replicate their model. And you've already heard Lauren was very helpful, and we do have a button on PD Buzz now. So and then another the other issue about the numbers, at one level, Zoom with a lot of people, unless you can do breakout rooms, I guess, isn't necessarily always the goal, it would seem to me. We kind of find that the dozen blocks or the 9 blocks, when we have our self-help hour together weekly, it's really, small is beautiful at one level. So I just would encourage people not to be discouraged by numbers, because you really then have a chance to really support one another. And as long as you're keeping other people linked, by announcing the meetings and they can join when they want. I live by the philosophy that whoever's supposed to be at the meeting that day is who are supposed to be at the meeting that day, and don't rue the people that aren't there. I kind of learned that from church work. So whatever good that is. And then just one final idea, since you all could maybe implement it a little bit, is we're having Friendsgiving this Friday on our support group, where we're just bringing our own appetizer and drink and socializing that way for the Thanksgiving activity. So
you bring your own, bring your own
your
food and drinks, and you just meet up and kind of pretend as if you're together.
Exactly.
I love it.
Our group is called Friends Living with Parkinson. So when I thought about Friendsgiving, I realized it was a perfect use of that urban dictionary term. Our kids probably have done more Friendsgiving than we have, but we can do it too.
Yes, you can. You can do it online as well.
Right.
Wow. Thank you so much to Group 2, to Candace, for your wisdom. Yes, very interesting ideas, about the numbers, and don't be discouraged about smaller numbers. That does sometimes enhance sharing and connection. So yeah, lots of wisdom there. Thank you. Okay, we have one more group. We've got group number 3 with Freddie, Joyce, Kathy, Myra, and Peggy. So if the leader wants to unmute themselves.
Okay, I was the one with the pen in hand, so I got the note-taking duties. We just started throwing ideas out, and Joyce said one of her big successes in her caregiver group was to, and also in the Parkinson's group, I guess, is to have a pharmacist from the medical center speak, and that's been very well received. And then Don was going to have to leave early, and he had an issue, and I remember him speaking about this before, saying that he leads a caregiver group and that he feels the losses that his caregivers experience very deeply himself, because he had a loss of his own husband to Parkinson's. And so he feels like the group is continually on a downer. They talk about down things, and he doesn't know how to get away from that, and he just feels so inadequate. So the group started tossing things out. Myra said she could relate to that because her situation was similar. Her husband also passed from Parkinson's, and the main thing that she has tried is encouraging the caregivers to make time for themselves and to take care of themselves, as you were talking about, or someone was talking about earlier. Put that oxygen mask on yourself instead of on the person that you're taking care of first, because you have to be there for them. Another idea was to share the experience, just toss it out for the group to share an experience from the week. And once one person says, well, this is what I had happen other people from the group tended to jump in and try to help them, so that it wasn't a bummer, it was people helping people. Maybe they all had that kind of an experience at one time or another. Another was learn to accept the death of the partner, but let yourself laugh again. Counselors will tell you that you have to give yourself the permission to feel good again. And so you have to let yourself do that and try to find the good things in life, even if it's just some tiny little thing like the sun came up today instead of being a cloudy day. And then another idea was to encourage everyone to offer ideas that they would like to have for speakers or programs during the group, instead of the leader having to always come up with things, so that they would take ownership of it. And if they have ideas for speakers, maybe someone else could approach a speaker and say, would you speak to our group? Feel like they are doing something to help the group, and by that help themselves feel better about themselves.
All great suggestions there that we can, I think, translate to other situations as well. So these are all just good suggestions in general for support groups, not only care partners or someone who's experienced a loss, that sort of thing, but great suggestions. So thank you so much for that. Wow, we are already at the end of our hour-and-a-half meeting. I'm going to share this quickly before I lose it. Okay, and I'm going to move forward here to the next slide if I'm able to. Let me see if I know how to do that. Boom. Okay. So if I go to the next slide, I'm just quickly going to give you a preview for what's coming up next in the next couple of weeks. So next week is Thanksgiving holiday. We're taking that week off, so no training roundtable on Monday, the 23rd of November. Let's see, doesn't look like you're able to see this.
No, we're not.
Let's see, let's try that again. Oops, sorry. Gotta love that. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Are you seeing this now?
So what's next? Yeah.
Okay, great. So, all righty.
And we also see all your Zoom controls, by the way.
Interesting. I'm just going to explain everything.
Okay.
That'll be easier. My dentist was trying to just call and cancel my appointment for tomorrow. Great. Okay, so I'm going to share with you verbally what we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. So as I just mentioned, no training next week. The following Monday is November 30th. We're going to be doing an expanded basic Zoom training. So again, this is building on the basics of Zoom that we have restarted this fall for those of you who are new to being support group leaders online. So I am able to share my Zoom controls, as you just saw mentioned. So that is actually a really great asset for us, so I can help share what I do on the back end. So that's what I'm going to be expanding on Monday, November 30th. And then the following week is December 7th, and that is going to be more advanced training. Someone recently on one of our support group leader calls had asked about polling. So the polls that we do sometimes at the beginning, that is a function of Zoom that we do not offer if you are on our Pro Zoom account. We're not allowed to have a bunch of people in the back end of our Zoom web account. But I was asked for those of you who have your own Zoom account and you can do polls, can you be trained on that? So sure, I just want to like make sure everyone understands the difference here. And if you are on that training, just be aware of that. I will talk about breakout rooms again because of the change, because we are now able to self-select, and just a few of the other new options that we have on Zoom because of all the updates happening. The following week is Monday, December 14th, and that will be sort of our holiday edition. And what I would love to do is brainstorm ideas for icebreakers or holiday activities. Candace mentioned having her Friendsgiving and having people show up with drinks and food and, you know, just something that's more festive. Let's try to make our December meetings with our groups a little more fun. How can we do that? So let's come with ideas and share those with one another. And I'm looking forward to having that on December 14th. And let's see if there's anything else. I don't believe so. So we're just going to wrap up. Unless anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself. I don't know if I've missed any chat messages, Train. No, okay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for your ideas. Really helpful. I'm going to be sending out a follow-up email to everyone that includes all of this information. And so we can take it away and build on it and meet again very soon.
Hey, Shannon.
Yes.
This is Trace in Oregon. I had a neighbor just stop by, but one of the things I was going to throw out real quick is we also did drive-bys. So those who might be shut-ins and can't drive at all, for those who do have access to vehicles and can drive by, we've done like drive-bys. So we'll do half a dozen cars and drive by, you know, much like you see on the TV. We also this summer had ice cream socials where they drive through, you meet at one place, and we'd have, for us, I work at a community center here, senior center. And we did drive-by socials, ice cream socials. We're going to do a snowman soup social this Thursday. So I've been working way well.
That's great. I'd love to hear more about the logistics of that. And hopefully you can join us in the next few weeks, not this coming week, but you can explain a little bit more so we can have a sense of how to set that kind of thing up.
Sure, and I'll see how that goes this Thursday with the snowman soups.
Wonderful. Take notes for us.
Indeed.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Trace. Bye. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks so much.